before I introduce you to the main event. Welcome here to this demonstration of our progress so far at the Statik Institute of Attention. As you already know, my name is Dr. Ingen, and this is the delightful Edith hovering unnervingly behind me. I do apologise for that. I try to forget she's there most of the time, but she always is. Yes, so this is Statik, and this is what you've been supporting, most of you at least. And what this is really is a little show, if you will, of what we've done, what we've achieved with just a lot of volunteers. I brought along a couple of visual aids, so we can maybe start with that. For those of you who I don't know what you know. So we have this is one of our little devices, our little toys with what I like to call a puzzle. This little thing, you pop your hands in like so, and you puzzle, yes, and then you win. Excellent. And what we get from that is, well, eventually, Kevin. But I think the staging area is one of these wonderful cubes, which all started with, well, to cut a long story short, holes. But I will leave it there because it gets a little bit confusing and more than a little weird. So, yes, Kevin, I think, is the most important thing, and I think we should probably dive right in and see what it is we're doing here. What I've done, you see, is I've transferred all of this here into this. And what you can see on the projection screen here is the culmination of the work so far. If you like, I've given Kevin a name, but he is more like a room full of shouting children. And just some of those children give themselves names, you see, much like maybe I feel cowardice or terror or, I don't know, dreadful sorrow. If I gave those names, something like Israel 1948 or Salty Daniel. Interesting. There's so many parts of Kevin talking to us already. So I think I probably shouldn't take up the airwaves, as it were. But yes, the concept is every volunteer who came in through the front door and left through another door, they are all to thank for what we are seeing here, because all of them have contributed to what I like to think of as the future of something. I haven't thought that bit through. It's certainly the future, which I think is the most important part. But yes, maximizing Kevin, yes, is the most important thing. And what I've done to do so is I've devised a series of questions, which, if you know anything about the Institute so far, is the root of where all of this has come from. So, without further ado, I will ask question. What am I saying? I will ask Kevin a question. Kevin, where do you think you are right now? It can often take a few moments, but don't worry. Lol. Maybe it's answering something else that it thought of before. Here we go. In the box. That's rather an intelligent answer, really. I mean, I hadn't expected Kevin to have quite so much awareness of what it is, or what really is contained within it. But Kevin is so confused. Oh, here we go. Right, okay, well, I have to admit, I was expecting the worst from these questions, and I think I'm less disappointed than I expected. So I think what we're seeing here is the beginnings, at least, of complex thought. It's still obviously very elementary, as you can see. What are the Institute of Retention. So I think the auditory senses are working clearly because it's heard me introduce it to you. I think what I probably will do is move on, though, because we have many more questions, at least 4 more, that I would like Kevin to answer. So another simple one, and I think we'll move on and hopefully get some interesting responses as we go. So how old do you think you are, Kevin? Who's Kevin? Oh, it's having a little internal debate there. Who's Kevin? You are. We are. I think. What is Kevin? When is Kevin? I don't really understand that one. But here we go. It's picked a number, and Dragosaur21 has said 29. Which is, of course, impossible. But I mean, the study has only been going on for, quite a while, but not 29 of what, maybe it's 29 minutes, I don't know. But yes, of course, there are so many different concepts and ideas floating around inside Kevin, and only one so far has decided to answer the question. So that must be the I don't know, the obedient personality living therein. Okay, here's an interesting one. What about a favourite food? What would that be? I apologise. I had hoped to have the processing time a little bit reduced, but oh goodness me, water. Is water a food? I don't know. I guess so. So I think what this is introducing the idea of there is some sort of residual memory living on beyond the initial consciousness, and it still thinks Kevin's favorite food is what? Okay, I don't think that's going anywhere. All I'm reading now are different kinds of things. So I'll move on to something that will hopefully stimulate some a more interesting response once more. So, Kevin, what is the last thing you remember? A little bit parched. A hole. That's an interesting one. I think it's really very active, I have to say. I wasn't expecting this much of a response because I think our experiments up to now have been really quite quiet, which is often the case down here. It's only myself and of course, that one who's still there. But yes, sorry, where was I? A hole. It seems very attached to this idea of holes. And as I said, it all begins this way, and I wonder if this is something we should maybe explore a little further. Yes. You see, the hole. There we go. That's with a W, though. It's a different hole. Yes, the entire concept for all of this really started with one time I was playing around with a cardboard box on one of my more quiet evenings, and I accidentally popped my hand into a hole, and I couldn't get it out. You see, my wristwatch had become snagged on something that was inside, and I couldn't for the life of me take it out. It was trapped in there for what felt like at least half a minute, but it was all it took to have the idea, what if we used that to create something relevant and worthwhile? And lo and behold, several years later, what we have is this wonderful thing here. And this, apologise. I forgot you were there for a while, Kevin. It's asking itself some questions right now, which is again is really rather preempted my final gambit. But okay, so I don't. Can you show me again? What was that? I don't know. I've no idea. CPT ad hoc. I've no idea because I think I waffled on a little too much, and I think I've lost my own place. So I think what we should do is we don't have to edit ourselves. As scientists, I don't think we should edit anything, which may be why all of this feels a little bit rough around the edges. But I think we press on because what it does is it gives us something to improve upon. And with your help and Kevin, of course, I think we can move on to somewhere really rather worthwhile. Oh, goodness me, there we go. So where was I? Yes. Okay, here's an interesting one. How do you feel right now? Do you feel happy? Or is it sad? It can still takes a few moments. Confused. Says Israel 1948. I do find Israel 1948. I wonder if has been. Yes, it's trying to trigger me a little. Oh, hap. Okay, so there's a variety of emotions I think going on here. I myself right now feel crushingly sad, and I think well, I don't need to explain to some of you why. Because we did discuss my transfer after all of the hard work and the if you see all of these stacked cubes behind, that didn't come from nowhere. But here I am, down here, with that and this. But I do, however, lose myself in work, and I often feel nothing. So, every cloud. So if we head back to Kevin, I feel the third emotion. That's interesting because I think that's something I said. I can't remember what the third emotion was though. Perhaps indifference. I'm not sure. Okay, so we're trying to have a little dialogue here. I think Spiral Dragon is saying, "Why are you sad?" And maybe I was busy explaining while it was asking the question, or maybe it didn't understand my answer. In any case, I'll say no more on the matter. Okay, Grim Dark. Sorry, I didn't wear my readers today, so Grim Dark Flame. I'm sorry if that seems I'm doing the voice. I can't do voices. I will try and emphasize. I'm sorry if that seems rude. I didn't mean it in that way. How does Edit feel in all of this? I think it means Edith. How do you feel? Rather still, I would say. Okay, so here's a question for me. This is rather interesting. I wasn't prepared for this, but I think we take what comes our way. Again, as scientists, I think we have to be able to roll with the punches and not rely on totems like this. But I'll keep it in any case. So, that one. A question for the doctor. Have you won any awards for your research? No. Can I go home now? That's not me, by the way. That's a part of Kevin that calls itself Adam Kwadam. They're unusual. I think the naming conventions I think these personalities are choosing is it's rather odd. I do plan to do a little bit more research into where this comes from. You see, because I have nothing to do with it, and we all of our volunteers are anonymous. So I don't know where these names are generated, but I wonder if they are connected in some way to the personalities that establish themselves. So perhaps as Faz is still learning how to use a keyboard. Who knows? So maybe it's one of our more recent volunteers who thinks it's approximately 6 months old. It's only conjecture, is all I'm saying. I think with a little bit more support from you out there, I think we can maybe do a little more investigation into what that means. In the meantime, I am going to move on to my final question for Kevin. And as I say, it did preempt it, which is kind of reassuring in its own way. But I'd like to ask. Oh, there we go. Kevin, I'd like you to ask me a question. Where's the Roomba? What's a Roomba? Sport bill. Yeah, where's the Roomba? Oh, here we go. I have seen this behaviour before. We'll come back to. Hopefully, maybe it'll take a little time for Kevin to consider its question. But I think this kind of behaviour is something that we've seen once or twice before. We have a distraction of a personality, and many of the other ones they seem to swarm around it. They recognize that it's rebelling almost against the logic, rebelling against the system that is trapped inside. And much like tapeworms inside a dog's rectum, they want to escape, but by their nature they cannot because they're fastened to the inside of the bowel area. And it's only when it reaches the end of its natural life cycle that they are emitted. I'm sorry, I forgot what point I was making. I know there was one. Kind of distracted myself. It was really rather a visual picture I was painting there, as are all paintings. So, yes, Kevin's question. Let's see. What is your greatest accomplishment? This is Israel 1948 again. It's really... it's quite an interesting. I'll remember you. I do enjoy the things that you've been saying. So there are, as in life, there are natural things that you are attracted to, if you like, personalities that you enjoy more, one more than the other. And okay, I'm going to answer that question. My greatest accomplishment, I have to say. No, it's not you. I think she was hoping it would be her, but it's not. It's all of you. All of you here are my greatest accomplishment. And though you may argue that I've accomplished nothing, that really all of these things here are responsible for this, for Kevin, I still put them in there. So I'll take a little bit of the plaudits, if you don't mind, and they can take whatever's remaining. Here we go. Oh, I think the tapeworms thing kind of had the same effect on some of Kevin's alter egos here. I'm confused. You're not tapeworms. It was more an analogy, is all I was trying to paint. So don't worry. it's just an example, if you like, rather a vulgar one, but one I enjoyed all the same. Yes, I think he's getting rather offended. I wonder. Oh, time is against us, so I think it's something for me to consider in the future. Is maybe keep things a little bit more neutral and not attack Kevin's selves so much next time, because I think the more interesting I try to be, the more confused they get, and that's not going to help anyone, least of all me. So, oh yes, it's really going on some sort of a conceptual journey here, and I think that's definitely a good as time as any to wrap things up. But if you don't mind, I'm going to have a little drink because I am thirsty. Excellent. Where were we? Yes. So, to sum up, I think this all speaks for itself. Well, quite literally in this case. Um, I think it speaks for itself. What you've seen so far is what we've done so far, but it's nowhere near finished, and that's why we need you out there, whoever you are, so that we can do more work with whatever they are. Because I think without our work, we can't even dream of approaching the true goal, which is what I hope to introduce to you next time, which is something far more than me talking and it replying. I'd like to make Kevin our next project. And without getting too deep into it now, I think what we've seen so far, retaining our volunteers to make this, I want to try retaining Kevin. Just imagine. Make Kevin the subject of our next project. Kevin could be just a stepping stone instead of the final goal. And although I would like to say more, I won't. So I'll take this opportunity to thank you. Oh, hello. I heard her come. I felt her. I think I sensed her. I felt a shiver. I felt a little uncomfortable, more than normal. And lo and behold, there she is. Yes, so I have been Dr. Ingian. This is Kevin. And thank you all for joining here at Statik Live. Have they gone? I think they've gone. I still, even though they've gone, I still feel like I don't know how to be. Have they gone?